Good morning. It is June the 1st, 9, 2021. Yeah, I was going to say there. Yeah, we will call that not at all. Okay, didn't get much sleep, nothing swept, no comments. I'm going to share a channel with you that I've already shared before, but I want to share it again. It's an important one. This is Roy Lab Stats. This is a channel that I go to daily to get the latest update on the pandemic worldwide. Here's Canada right here. There's 13 in the first column, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're 23rd. Chile is ahead of us by a couple thousand. We're kind of going back and forth. They've added a new column here. First is the total cases on the far left, deaths and recovery. Active cases, they're running it 4 different channels. One shows the active cases, but you can get that easy enough. Total cases minus deaths minus recovered equals the active cases per country, and then you can add it up for everyone. Now the new one is vaccine doses administered. It's 1,920,000,000.2. That's quite amazing. And it looks like things are slowing down the world to some extent, which is great. As you notice up here, our time is 6:01. Yeah, okay. So Roy Lab Stats. Let me just show you the name of the channel. It's right down here. Roy Lab Stats. See? Not complicated. This is their description, where they get all their information from, all the different links, and also where they get the music from. I muted it. I didn't ask permission to show this page. I'm going to stop sharing. Okay. So that to me is an important channel that I go to on the daily. It's one that I think needs some attention for sure. I go visit, like I say, on the daily, but I want to show you some channels that I really, really like. So it's up to you. I'm going to try and make certain that I this is Kiyush, the stunt dog. Okay, this is Kiyush, the stunt dog, as you can see, as the channel name suggests. This is this is the latest video. Kiyush is a husky Malamute and has quite the ability to speak. Kiyush, our friend, comes to visit him often, is older and speaks even more clearly. This is Jody and her mother, And I mean, they've been trying to entertain us through COVID times, but what they do is, who does my husky love more? Mom, faith reveal. Okay. Anyway, I'm suspicious. She usually puts in like anecdotes or what he'd be thinking. Right? So we see that, yeah, cup biscuits. It's kind of funny. Right? And the name, Kiyush the Stunt Dog. I highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. It's good. Let me see if there's any of Kiyush's best friend, Sugar. Sugar's usually in the comments, but this one is pretty good too. Okay, this is Life with Felonies. That's cute. Their family in England have one little baby, three Malamutes, and a husky Malamutes and a cat. They're so cute. And the name of the channel is Life with Malamutes. There's Nico, there's a cat, Milo, Nico, Phil, and Teddy. And she's eating some cheese trees, and she shares them quite happily with the dogs and tries to give one to the cat as well. She even gives one to her duck. That's Mia. Right? Let me see. Now, let me see what else. There are probably other channels I can share right now, but that's free. Where I live stats, I check it at least once a day, see what the numbers are like. Hoping to God if we'll see a huge change and a big slowdown. It's not slowing down though, not that I've noticed. I don't think in most countries there's a large percentage of the population's been vaccinated to attain the herd immunity, but hopefully, you know, some countries will be able to get 60 to 70% of the population vaccinated. It's not going to give you a herd immunity, but it's going to set it in the right direction. Um, I really feel that this is a time in your life more than any other time where you've got to find out for yourself whether you should, you know, find out as much as you can about COVID, about when to get tested, um, what the symptoms are, everything kind of with vaccination, um, and also the variants of COVID. There's different shots. Just please educate yourself. And then ask questions of, to people who are specialized. Ask your family doctor. Read up online. I mean, you can just put COVID-19 in a search engine, or go to known websites like mayoclinic.com, where you know exactly you're speaking or you're reading information that has been written up, and the bibliography is there, well, by specialists in the field. And if they don't have enough information there, you can follow any of the links and find out more. I find that website very um, helpful, and it's educated me quite a bit. Um, Let me see. School is starting back in our province on Thursday, I believe. We've been closed down, uh, locked down, heavily locked down for a number of months through the 14, 15 months. Um, it's, it's really starting to bother me. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because it's been such a long year. I mean, our puppy knows most of his life being isolated from others. Well, I mean, he's formed a very strong bond with us, which is good anyway, but, you know, it's strange. But this too shall come to pass, right? Where one day when it'll be just part of something to talk about. Um, let's see. I honestly think some folks need lockdowns to be lifted. They need to get their shots or continue masking and distancing if they're not getting their shots, and get out in the sunshine and let the air blow through their hair and their clothes and the whole 9 yards. Just need to get out and get off the internet. I mean, I'm not saying log off, boo. No, no. It's just, I know myself, um, with the easing our lockdown regulations a bit, I'm excited. Um, I go to see our eye surgeon on the 10th, which would I have eye surgery right now? Possibly. It's only going to improve my vision. It's not a big deal. I've had it before. Just takes laser and pumps holes in the top of my eyes. Yeah, I know, Cyclops, right? Yeah, you're just jealous. That's it. But I think that it's time to have it. I don't use eye drops because they're cortisone or corticosteroid. I can't use that because I once had active TB and it could reactivate it. Not going down that road at all. Um, so I have to stay away from medicines like that. Not the end of the world. Just remember to stay away from them. My husband and I went through a series of eating food from outside, and it's been limited. There's one place it's called like a farmer's dollar. It's called, and they make lovely homemade bread, whole wheat or white, and then their sandwiches have like real turkey, real chicken, real roast beef, and they do like roast beef with mozzarella or Swiss, the cheese of your choice on top, and some vegetables. So you build your own sandwich. It's kind of like a Subway concept, except if I order turkey with bacon, the bacon is well cooked, and it's not, on the raw side, it's really well cooked, and tomatoes, and I tell them to keep the lettuce for the next sandwich, mayo, cheese, usually mozzarella. Um, they toast it a bit, or we just nuke it a bit when it comes up. That's kind of like our big takeout during mega lockdown. And it's really delicious. Yep. I order it and it's ready to pick up when my husband is on his way home. And it's never failed. And the turkey is, like, the filling is so much that for my sandwich, I can take half of, the meats out, like the bacon and the turkey, and give some to Donnie, and I still have a huge sandwich to eat. Um, Usually, when we get a sandwich, we also get a loaf of sliced homemade bread. And sometimes you have to be careful; it's a bit too yeasty, which means that, well, it's not like I've made it, so I can't speak from experience. But when my father used to make homemade bread when we were kids, if he was in a bit of a rush because he had to do something else that day and he couldn't let the dough rise long enough, and he, just took it from the bowl and punched it down and put it in the pan to cook it. It was yeasty when he couldn't let it sit enough and couldn't punch it down enough and go through that process. So my thought is that they probably do it, a little bit faster. And sometimes you have to let the loaf sit for about 4 days. If you take it and cut the slices in half and freeze it, it makes really nice toast. But yeah, and I mean that's good. Um, but you could also just leave it and let it a couple of days. The yeast will come out of it, or you can toast a piece or cut the slice in half and toast it. And that really gets rid of that accessories because I find the yeast is very hard to bow. So, burning question: did anybody else gain COVID weight, or am I the only one? Huh. Stress is not bedfellow, isn't it? We don't think we're stressed, but all of a sudden we find ourselves grabbing for something to eat when we're not really hungry. And I think that's a sign of stress. I know there's been a couple of favorites of mine that anytime my husband sees them, um, he'll pick them up, and they're chocolate spider cookies. They're like with the rolled oats and the coconut and the cocoa, and they're really, really good. I think they're no bake cookie, but they're kind of like mixed in a pot and with margarine or whatever, butter, uh, the other ingredients I mentioned. And then you let them cool. They are really good. Mm-hmm. Although they're no bake, they're kind of done up in a pot, so I kind of say that there's a bit of heat put to them to combine all the elements. Well, it was nice to see Alicia Clare yesterday, and that was her name. I'm not doxing her. Science girl. Nice when she pops back in and gives us an update in her life. I didn't realize that she was in medicine, but I may misunderstand that. And I also didn't realize that right now she could be a nurse practitioner. I didn't know that. I really didn't. Because I assumed she was studying in another avenue of science. I'll just leave it at that. And I made a comment in the chat about, biochemistry. We had exams at her university. I think it's Tulane. That they don't have exams. It's mainly group work. And I said, even with entomology, study of insects, we had lab exams and written exams for every biology, chemistry, physics class I took, every calculus class I took had exams, and lab exams were extremely brutal. I mean, you had to remember every bit of every diagram that you drew, what the insect looked like. They didn't spend that kind of time preserving an insect or preserving whatever, uh, just to, you know, have you say, well, what is that? No, no, no. Yeah. They'd ask what part, what, it might be a joint of a flea. Yeah, what is that? You'd have to give the Latin name for it. Yeah, but we had exams for sure. She said, well, the only thing that's really important to remember is the properties of frozen water. And I thought, no, there's so much more. Well, again, it depends upon what areas of science you study. Um, I majored in biology and chemistry, biochemistry. There's so much to that. And I also minored, I guess, in physics and calculus. So it's what it is. Now, yeah, every university being different, the entrance exams for law and medicine here are after, well, you might be just at the end of your undergraduate degree from any university applying to our university to get into the medical school or law school. Those are taken just prior to the spring, prior to entrance point. But it's not like leaving a program point. It's instead hoping that you'll open a door to get into it. But like I say, every university is different, and you know, I really don't have much experience or knowledge of Tulane University. I know it's a good university, highly spoken of and regarded around the world. North America for sure, anyway. I wish I'm proud that somebody would keep working on their degree, so many years later. Our university has a limit. I'm not sure why they imposed that limit, but you have 5 years, like let's say you did 2 or 3 years of your science degree, or in my case, you did 4 years. And then, for whatever reason, you could have gotten sick, got married, had children, whatever, you paused your degree. You have 5 additional years to complete that. If you don't complete it within that period of time, then so be it. It's really up to the discretion of the university to allow you to continue. Even if you're an active student and doing one course per year, you have that period of time to finish the degree. That's it. It's cut-off point then. And I don't know if they make you start right from scratch or what. But no, I just went in succession. I did a 4 year, and that's because I wanted, you can get a Bachelor of Science degree in 3 years, but I wanted to do the 4 year degree. And, gave me the option to study more science classes. It's pretty hard to put everything that you'd like to study in 3 years. So I did the extra year, and then I did a second degree after it, and that was an education degree to be able to teach biology, chemistry, physics, and science math, honors math, calculus, academic math. hmm And I enjoyed it immensely. It was a massive learning curve, but when I came on to YouTube, and long before I hit this small little niche of YouTube, um, the channels that I kind of was watching never talked about degrees, never talked about money, never talked about your looks, never talked about your hair, never talked about, implants, liposuction, uh, put weight in your behind, take weight off your behind, Botox, you name it. No, no, no. It's strange because the channels that I was most interested in dealt with science and nature, and had a like-minded sense of knowledge of the universe, similar to mine. So obviously, like-minded attract. And like National Geographic was one that I loved to go to. There's a couple of different National Geographic channels on YouTube, and love going there. It's interesting, but before I used Zoom today because I find the volume is low. Although I have the speaker up quite high right now, I have it up at 28%, and that should be quite high, but the last time I found it was very low. But I tried StreamYard and I was trying to share, but because I haven't paid for it, I don't know, or maybe it's because I was using Firefox, but I was able to use Firefox before and share with StreamYard, but it is what it is. I don't use Google Chrome because there's so many add-ons that they've done away with, so I don't usually use it on a regular. I mean, I could, but it says easy to navigate. Just my opinion. And I don't use Internet Explorer. I mean, I still have Windows 7 on this particular computer. Firefox works great for most particular cases. When I shared what I did with Zoom, I made certain not to share the sound. There was no need to. I wanted to show you Royal Lab stats, Keish, the Sun Dog, and Life with Malamutes. 3 channels. That, well, the dog ones are just so enjoyable, and they usually post every day. Now, please, if you've got channels that you want to share, maybe put a little bit of information about them, like a channel you get a laugh out of, dogs, puppies, babies, comedians, whatever. Do you know of some good? I don't want to hear about any drama channels. Thank you. No thanks. Or good, informative channels. Could be a zoos, whatever. Live cam feeds. Share it in the links, and maybe we can all find something different to watch. Well, that's about it, folks. Everyone have a great day, and do check out Royal Livestock. Really, I just find it great to be informed. For me, anyway. Okay, have a good one.